Gorant Dragic is signing with the Brooklyn Nets. Dragic's only played 5 games this season, all with the Raptors. Matt Barnes, do you like this move?
This move, a nice security blanket. You know, there's a lot of moving parts going on over in Brooklyn, and this Steve Nash made this happen. I played with Gorant his rookie year in Phoenix when Steve was our point guard, and I'm sure that connection from there is the reason why he went to Brooklyn, because I definitely didn't see him going to Brooklyn.
Yeah, by the way, I've never really seen him get old and bad. You know what I mean? Maybe fewer minutes, but he's
Very
always
solid.
been playing at a pretty good level when he's on the floor. That's a nice little pickup for sure.
Yep.
So LeBron gave us a bunch of great material this weekend to play armchair psychiatrist with, and here we have noted behavioral expert Matt Barnes here to analyze it all. Matt, we begin with LeBron's high praise for Sam Presti when asked about Josh Giddey. Take a listen.
The MVP over there is Sam Presti. He the MVP. I mean, Josh Giddey is great. Sam Presti, I don't understand this guy's eye for talent. He drafted KD, Russ, Jeff Green, Serge Ibaka, Reggie Jackson, Josh Giddey, and the list goes on and on and on. This guy's pretty damn good.
I like Jeff Green, but he slipped him in there with some other names. I don't know. But Matt, what is LeBron really saying here?
I mean, he's just buttering everyone up. He's keeping all his options open. He also knows his son is coming down the pipeline, and his goal to play with his son at the end of the career seems like the priority. So I like what he's doing, because rarely do you get to have a player completely control his narrative. And if any player gets to control where he goes or what he does towards the end of his career, it's LeBron James.
But isn't it also kind of a shot at Rob Pelinka? I mean, Rob Pelinka's Kobe's guy, right? And tragically, you know, he's not around. And now Rob Pelinka doesn't seem to have the same kind of influence, one would think, that he once did. Isn't this kind of a shot at Rob Pelinka?
With all due respect to Rob, I don't think Rob really had that much power to say. You know, it's been the LeBron show since he's been there. He's been making the moves and everything. And again, if I'm Laker fans, I'm just like, oh man, pretty much LeBron is saying, enjoy me while you can, because there's no guarantee I'll be finishing here. So this is, you know, probably a little disheartening for the Lakers and their fan base. But again, if any player can do it, it's LeBron.
Yeah, I get it. Just seemed to me when LeBron came to the Lakers, I just assumed, okay, this is a clutch sports joint now. Here comes Ty Lue, but it didn't happen that way, right? Magic, maybe he'll front the group like he did with the Dodgers, and then he left, and then wait, is this going to be LeBron and Kobe? I guess LeBron, here comes LeBron. Oh no, wait a minute, but Kobe's guy is the GM. I really thought, to me, it was like a portent. Who's going to wind up owning the Lakers one day, right? And maybe it will be LeBron. All right, next up, in an interview with The Athletic, Matt, LeBron was asked about the possibility of returning to the Cavs for a third stint and said, and I quote, "Door's not closed on that. I'm not saying I'm coming back and playing. I don't know. I don't know what my future holds. I don't even know when I'm free." Matt, how are we supposed to read this?
Just how we're reading it. Confused a little bit, knowing the game he's playing. The one thing about the Cleveland Cavaliers is they've definitely, they have life after basketball now. They have a great young core, 2 of them who are all-stars. Love Evan Mobley. I love what this team is doing over there. If LeBron ends up going back there, to me, I think it should hopefully only be for a year or so, because, again, they know that, again, as it's happened before, he's not going to be there. This time it'll be the end of his career. So, again, they've established a new culture over there in Cleveland. I love what they're doing. But again, if anyone deserves to kind of choose his storybook ending, it's LeBron James.
By the way, I don't think this one's that complicated, right, Matt? Like, he's in Cleveland. They won't even trade J.J. Hickson or whatever for Amari Stoudemire. They won't even get him Amari Stoudemire once upon a time. He's like, all right, the hell with this. I'm going to Miami because I got Wade and Bosh. Then he looks over at Cleveland. Oh, look at this. Since I'm gone, they have all these first-round picks, the number 1 overall picks. They got Kyrie. They can make a move for another star. I'll go to Cleveland. Then Kevin Love starts to get a little old. You know what? Let me check out L.A. Then he looks over at Cleveland. Look at this. Mobley and all these dudes. I can do something with that. Isn't that kind of what's going on, Matt?
That's tough. Like I said, again, they've established life after LeBron. And really shout out Kevin Love, too, because he's kind of had a resurgence this year, and I'm sure he's doing a great job over there at being that veteran voice and presence that young T definitely needs. But, Max, you're not wrong. I think, when LeBron moves, it makes you step your game up. as management, and Cleveland has done that a few different times now, as they've showed. So again, they have life after LeBron cooking right now. If LeBron decides to go back there, because they have put another very solid young team together, I wouldn't be surprised.
Finally, in that same interview, because you talk about life after LeBron, what about life with Bronny? Because in that same interview with The Athletic, check out these comments about LeBron playing with his son, Bronny, who's eligible for the 2024 draft under current league rules. Quote, "My last year will be played with my son. Will be played with my son. Wherever Bronny's at, that's where I'll be. I would do whatever it takes to play with my son for 1 year. Not about the money at that point." Matt, this begs the question whether or not by then he deserves it. And by the way, he's 17, right? By the time he's 19, maybe he's 6'8". Who knows, right? The kid could still be growing. But would you use a lottery pick on him if he was more or less the same player he is now that LeBron has said that, in order to entice LeBron James?
We'll have to wait and see. Obviously, he has the DNA to be great in his father. And again, LeBron is keeping all these doors open. But if you look at the Cleveland situation, possibly setting something up for his son to be going there, you know Cleveland is going to be a good team. So even if Bronny's not lottery pick material at the time, he could be late first round, early second, where Cleveland could possibly pick him up. Imagine Bronny going to Cleveland and Bron finishing his career in Cleveland. You know, again, everything that Bron does is strategic. So he might just be saying stuff, but he knows a lot more than he's saying. So I wouldn't be surprised if any crazy situation happens with him and his son.
Matt, Bron is kind of like Tom Brady. Like, Father Time's undefeated. I once thought Bernard Hopkins was going to fight Father Time to a draw. And even he got knocked out of the ring when he was like 50, right? But Tom Brady and LeBron James have opened a can of you-know-what on Father Time. Like,
right.
LeBron James, when is his last season going to be? And I imagine he's still going to be playing at a very high level. So maybe using even a higher pick than you want to on Bronny gets you a fantastic player in LeBron for that 1 year, Matt.
It's for that 1 year, and you're taking a chance. But at the end of the day, a lot of these teams take chances. You know, you're taking chance on what these kids can potentially be. Again, Bronny has the DNA. I don't feel like he's hit his growth spurt. His little brother actually caught up to him in height. So I think Bronny probably has a growth spurt on the way. Very solid player over at Sierra Canyon. So again, it'll be interesting to see his development. Can you imagine, Max, how hard it must be? You know, being a son of a former NBA player is tough at any time, but being the son of LeBron James with all this out here floating around now. So hopefully Bronny stays locked in and they can make their dream come true.
Especially when height becomes an issue. Like, I look at Luke Walton, I look at Sabonis, good players, but they're just a couple inches shorter than their dads, right? So they're not great players.
Right.
But Bronny, if he's stuck at 6'3" or something like that, he's looking up. Are you kidding me?
Right.
Are you kidding me? The great Matt Barnes, ladies and gentlemen. Wait, what? What's this? This just inconvenient. Oh, that's right. I got Matt around. Hold on a second. A source confirmed Suns guard Chris Paul will be out for the next 6 to 8 weeks because of a fracture in his right thumb. Okay, Matt, since I still have you here, what does this mean for the Suns' title hopes? Because they currently have the best record in the league.
They've afforded themselves a cushion. They can go 500 and still win 60 games in the regular season, but I don't see this team making any noise without their leader and the engine of this great Phoenix Suns team without Chris Paul on the floor. And it's not so much even the numbers all the time, it's his leadership that has really taken this young team to a new level, Max.
Yeah, it's crazy. You know, I think about his career, Matt, and it's been stunted in a way by injuries in the playoffs, right? Like, that Houston team that he was on took the invincible KD Warriors that LeBron didn't want any part of, right? He could barely get a game from them. Took them to a game 7 at home. They missed 27 consecutive threes, literally. Still only lost by single digits. CP3 didn't play. I have to imagine if he played, they probably win that game, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, this is affecting his career at this point, his legacy, these injuries.
Tough situation. You know, we actually joked about it this weekend because, again, at the Clippers, we both had bad hands and we lost Chris a couple times in the playoffs. You know, that we could have felt like we could have really, with a healthy Chris, we're going to a new level. So obviously you lose one of arguably the greatest point guards of all time, which is, again, his numbers are still great, but to me it's more of his leadership and his guidance that this young team appreciates.
Now I can say thank you for real, Matt, and let you go. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
Talk to you soon.